Hey, hello. We are back with Therosian Odyssey, Tides of Volition, Season 2, Part 2. We had our mid-season finale, like 3-4 weeks ago? Three or 4 weeks ago. Well, we left on quite the cliffhanger. But we're back this week. We're going to have another 5 episodes. It's going to be absolutely fab, hopefully, if everyone survives. It'll be fine. It'll be absolutely fine. I've forgotten what I'm doing. But hi. Obviously, you all know our lovely players. We will just really quickly words. Go around and just quickly introduce yourselves. Tell everyone what character you're going to be playing while I apparently put my brain back together. And then we will get right back into it. So let's start with. Now I'm gonna go in initiative order because we rolled initiative. So let's go with Lindsay first, who is playing Eva.
Hello. As our DM said, I play Eva, the Kenku Ranger / rogue / creature of the dark. We ended our last episode with me perched precariously on the side of a ship, allured by the call of the ocean and really wanting to just go for a swim. So, of course, I go first.
Of course, we rolled initiative, and guess who
has a plus 13 to initiative?
This
God. I'm not just talking, it was a close It was a close match. I'm talking blew the other initiative scores out of the water, out of the room. There wasn't a hope in heck. But that's how we do. That's how we do this game. That's how it works. So cool. Thank you so much, Lindsay. And next up, oh my God, who even is next in initiative? It is gonna be
Kalyuka, right?
Kalyuka. So Kumi.
Kalyuka's next.
Hello, I'm Kumi, and as Kalyuka, Kalyuka just had a very nice night with Callista on deck. You know, they had like a little bit of a slumber party. And, you know, she also got a lovely circlet, is it?
Yes.
From who did I get the circlet from? Oh, we found it after our last battle on one of them.
And by the way, for the purposes of this, you can be attuned to it. Okay, that's just you had a long rest. Okay, you can be attuned to the circlet.
So Kalyuka just, you know, was warned by Callista that the magical bracelet she received will not help her breathe underwater, swim properly. But with the circlet that everybody else has assured her is fantastic for surviving on underwater, she wakes up to see Eva just jump into the sea. And
not quite yet.
There yet. Not there yet.
We'll get there. Don't you worry.
You know, as her Kung Fu friend starts to make her way towards the edge of the boat of the ship, Kalyuka is really excited and is essentially starting to take off her boots to go join on the swim. And her little baby
we can go swimming.
horned bunny, Caillou, I have little Caillou here now, is watching her in panic. She's like, no, don't go, please.
Poor fucking Julio.
There is a Caillou plushie. Can you please show off that Caillou plushie again? I feel like we really just skipped over that. Look at that.
I love
it.
Cute.
So cute. I cannot. Oh, that makes me so happy.
It's all glittery also.
What do we have now? We have art. We have a Caillou plushie. We have a little Julio the spider, don't we?
Yep.
We have a little spider. Oh my God. All right, we're just gonna slowly build. We're gonna slowly build up into a full-on collection.
You met Caillou, the little bald kid cartoon.
No, adorable little Almiraj is what we're talking about here.
Yep.
Next up in initiative is Estrella. So Jen, your
Hello,
turn.
friends. Hello. It is I, Jen. I will be playing your friendly local half-elven wizard, Estrella. She's having a time. She's been at sea for all of one day, and she's already been kebabbed by a giant Swaggin of the Trident. That was great. But
she's having a great time.
She's had a great look. She's fine. She got crat like 3 times. It's fine. Yes, the past tense of crit is crat. Yep, the past tense of crit is crat. Like I know it's not, but it is now.
At least none of y'all seasick. That's all I'm saying.
Kat's just sitting here like tallying up. Do I take these hit points away from Cassian or Estrella?
Nope. It's gonna be you. I'm punishing you. I'm punishing you and only you from now on. I feel like this is how I get you to listen. Okay, next up, Callista. So Lulu.
Oh, hi, I'm Lulu playing Callista, the party's part Triton cleric. And she's a little concerned that she might be the slowest one in the water now that everybody's got all of these magic items, since she doesn't have a swim speed despite her heritage. So it'll be interesting to see how this goes.
Or at least she doesn't have a swim speed that she's aware of.
Yes, that's
true. Because she's never had an opportunity to try. All right. So if that is Callista, then that leaves us with the person that was probably the most annoyed to have rolled low on initiative, Onyx. So Joan, take it away.
I want to be clear that Eva's bonus to initiative is almost higher than my entire dexterity score. I am playing Onyx, Admar, Nyxborn, Paladin. I also want to point out that when you say got crat earlier, the captions just said you got crap.
Same thing.
And yeah,
seems fine. Good job, captions. Keep it up.
Mm-hmm. And that's me.
Great. I'm Kat. I will be playing everyone else and guiding our intrepid adventurers through this story, through this segment, through this episode, and we'll just see how we get on. So let's dive straight into it. In the first half of this season, our beloved party returned briefly to Akros to tie up some loose ends, and they met with the Queen Regent before heading out to Miletus to board a boat. Sailing for the Dakra Isles to pursue the mission that they have been assigned. Or missions, I should say. Find the missing Queen of Akros, capture Ulysses Laos, and deal with Lady Helene in the way that they see fit. Which I feel like... Go on.
Make sure Freya doesn't die. Doesn't die.
Oh yes, they each have their own their own personal missions as well that various other NPCs have assigned them to. But make sure Estrella doesn't die. That's another good one. Probably make sure Eva doesn't die. That's probably a really good one for this episode. So that is where they are heading out to. They're heading to the Dakra Isles, famously mysterious, famously unchartable, or so they say. So a bit of a difficult place to navigate through. And the Siren Sea itself is a dangerous place, which you have all already discovered. You've been on the sea barely a day, and you have already battled with some quite terrifying Sahuagin raiders, and in the process found a mysterious castaway that practices a very strange and ancient kind of magic. The lack of shared language made communication difficult. But you have learned that they are somehow tied to the lost island civilization of Alantin, a city that legends say was cast into the depths by the sun god Heliod after its hubris became too great. And then we ended last season, or the mid-season finale, as the party settled down to sleep. The waves were gently lapping at the side of the boat. It seemed to be a calm and peaceful night. And then it was pierced by the sound of a very strange song. One voice at first, but gradually the pitch and power grew stronger as figures began to peer out from the water and completely surround the boat. You all woke from your sleep one by one, and found that this peaceful, still night very quickly descended into absolute chaos. Members of your crew were climbing over the railings and jumping into the water. Other members were desperately trying to hold them back. Cascade is barking orders, an edge of very evident panic in her voice. Suri is currently pinned to the deck with no less than 3 sailors holding her down, biting and kicking and screaming for them to let go so that she can go for a swim. Hector is trying to calm everyone down and heading to the side of the boat, seemingly to understand what is going on. As you reach the top of the stairs, Onyx, because you were the last to wake, I based that, by the way, on passive perception. That was literally how I based that order, on who woke up first. And as you reach the top of the stairs, within seconds, Cedric, the goblin chef, comes barreling past you, his eyes wide, and heads straight for the edge.
Can I try to grab him?
Not yet, because we're going to go into initiative now.
Oh, thank God.
And it's not, unfortunately, it's not like a reaction to grab. Otherwise, I actually really wish it was, because one of the things in D&D that I'm always like, you'd think it would be a reaction to be like, whoa, like that feels like a reactive move more than anything. But 5e, for some reason, it's like, no, you have to wait your turn. And I'm not really sure why.
Is 5e just more British than?
And then yeah, 5e just went really British then for a second. Please get into the queue, orderly line, everybody. Okay, I just got more British. Am I okay? And there's a moment, Astrea, Callista, Kaliuka, and Onyx, where your eyes meet and you take a second accounting for each other.
I was like, wait, where's Eva?
You see that each of you is unaffected by the sound, and you feel relieved. And you all turn your eyes upwards to the crow's nest to account for the final member of your party, so that you can all figure out a plan together. A beat passes as your expressions of relief turn to horror, because she's not there. And you hear the sound of Dion of the Burning Spears yelling out her name and turn to face where he is looking. And Eva is balanced precariously on the wooden balustrade, calmly looking out to sea. Eva, you rolled the highest in initiative. You have succumbed to the song that has pierced your usually impenetrable mind. Like, Lulu, Callista is like, what the ever of it? I have tried to communicate with you so many times. Your only directive is to swim and see how deep the water goes. That is all that you can focus on in your mind. There's no sense of hurt yourself or make things as difficult for yourself as possible. It is a very peaceful, that water is the most inviting thing at the moment, and you want to swim and see how deep it goes, right to the bottom. You want to touch the bottom of the ocean. What are you going to do?
I'm going to jump.
What? So you all watch your eyes.
I'm gonna touch the ocean butt.
Eva. The look of absolute horror on your face as she spreads her arms and just
swan dives
into the water, and she is gone. She is over the edge. You can move now, I believe. What is it that you're doing? Okay, because obviously you hit the water, you have a swimming speed, so you can swim, and that's fine. I believe that you have a magical item. There's nothing not telling you there's nothing saying don't help yourself. So you can, if a magical item requires activating or anything like that, you can do that, or you can kind of just, I guess, dash, as it were, and swim as quickly as possible as you can.
Oh shit, I can dash. I would assume I'm gonna dash because I want to get to the bottom. I don't believe my item requires any kind of...
That's an excellent question that I definitely should have looked up
While
before.
wearing this necklace, you can breathe normally in any environment. You have advantage on saving throws made against harmful gases and vapors. Boop, 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 boop. So now my necklace of adaptation will
it's just immediately you feel this kind of like uncomfortable feeling around your neck, but you kind of ignore it because really you're not focusing on anything except the need to swim. And you take a deep breath within the water, and you are breathing perfectly fine. And you begin to descend.
Yeah.
One thing I want to actually make very clear or have an understanding of, do other members of the party know that you have this necklace or what it does? Have you told anyone? Have you shown it off, or have you not really mentioned it, or have you kept it hidden? What do you think Eva will have done?
She probably would have kept it hidden because she did steal it, technically.
Yeah, so she's feeling a little bit like, I know I did a bad thing and I tried to make up for it by leaving 10 gold, but they definitely wanted more than that, and so I definitely stole this.
Plus, it's one of those items with Eva just naturally keeping secrets. Like, she doesn't always with the group, but with this item, she just probably like forgot to tell people also.
Yeah, maybe it just wasn't really considered like a important thing.
Important bit of information to know that she could breathe underwater. So
I mean, in the moment, right, if you ever needed to pass that information off, you would be able to, so there's no problem. Yeah, okay, that's fine. So
the only way that I could think anyone might have known, I don't know if Estrella at any point did like detect magic. Since Eva got it with Eva around.
She absolutely did. She did it when you were on the raft, and you were exploring all the magical items. You would have had that around your neck. So, Estrella, I am going to get you, because obviously you would have got like a general school of magic, and you never, and I mean, at the time I didn't think to mention it, but you never asked what it is or anything like that. So I think I would ask you to roll an Arcana check just to see if you can have an understanding of like what something like that might do. But to be honest, it's going to be a pretty high DC because there's a lot of magical necklaces around, and there's a lot of magical things that can be done.
Oh, that's actually good. That's 26.
26.
It's no 25.
Okay, yeah,
it is 25.
It's over 25, which is, as we all know here on Theros, you have to
mediocre.
Be 25.
25 is mediocre. Yeah.
You even have a chance of doing things. So 26, okay, that's not that impressive, really. I'm just kidding. It's very impressive. Okay, 26 for your Arcana check. I would say in the moment, I think all of you know that, because there was a moment when you were around the spider lair, Eva went into the water. You all know Eva can swim, okay? Or at least is okay in the water. But you're not sure, breathing and things like that. I will say with a 26, Estrella, based on your knowledge of magical items and magic and the schools of magic, there's a good chance, and you all kind of went out and got some various little bits and things like that, did some shopping. There's a good chance that Eva is definitely a smart cookie. She came back with suddenly she has a new necklace on. There's a chance that necklace might have something to do with facing the water in some way. I would say you wouldn't be 100% sure. Without being able to look at it and investigate it, you wouldn't know exactly what its property was. It could be to increase her swim speed further. It could be you're not sure that it is to help her breathe.
Right. But it does bring that, oh my god, she's gonna die, up from oh my god, she's gonna die, to like, maybe?
I think there's still a sense of urgency.
Yeah.
Because if it's telling her to go down into the water, like, okay.
It's still really fucking bad.
She might be okay down there, but for how long? We
also,
don't know.
like, that doesn't account for other creatures in the water as well, like...
You know, there's a lot of different magical items, and some magical items allow you to just breathe in those kind of environments.
Yeah.
And some magical items allow you to breathe for a certain period of time in those kind of environments. And so even if you could narrow it down to being that specific trait, you wouldn't know how long it's going to last.
Right. It could be like a minute for all I know, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so no activation needed. Eva,
nope.
You are swan diving in, and you are, I guess, what's the speed, the massive speed that you can go?
So if I'm gonna be dashing, I'm dashing down 40 feet. Or wait, no, 80 feet.
I don't know if anyone just saw Lulu's face. She just went. She just was like, what is even the point? Okay. Down she goes, everyone. And you will watch her go. We're going to go through now. We're going to go instinctive responses, instinctive. There's a lot of stuff happening around you. So I'm going to just describe for each and every one of you what kind of is in your vicinity. And you can tell me what your instinct, as it were, is to do. So Eva's in the water. We move on to Dion of the Burning Spears, who did roll quite well in his initiative. He can't even begin to beat a 28, okay? But he was the next highest. And he runs forward and he grabs a sort of spool of rope that is sort of curled up next to the mast. And he begins to tie the rope to the mast and yells out, if you're going in after her, tie this to her. Right? And that is he knows he's not a particularly strong swimmer. So he's like, someone else might be, I'll do this side. And he's hoping to kind of, I guess, benefit the action economy a little bit, and get something that might be able to secure her. I don't think he wouldn't know how strong a swimmer either is. What I will say actually, Eva, is I know that we talked about dashing, but what I will say is that you can choose not to dash if you want to, because there is not a sense of urgency. It's not like a get down to the bottom as fast as you can. It's just a go for a swim and get to the bottom. So if you like, I will allow you to retract your dash, because it's not like a get there with speed and with urgency, if that makes sense. But it's up to you how you want to play it out.
Then I will take back that dash and I will just go 40 feet.
Everyone,
down.
Eva is going for a leisurely swim. For me, choosing to dash or not to dash would be more about the personality of the person that's doing the kind of swimming, if they swim competitively or not. And that's obviously up to you guys. It's not to me. There's no sense of urgency. So, yeah, okay. So you are 40 feet below. Dion has tied his side of the rope to the mast, and that's what he's doing. Next up, Kaliuka, to give you an idea of what on earth is happening. You're on the other side of the boat, kind of thing, from where Eva is. So you're quite far. You're kind of standing around. You're near Callista, and obviously Caillou is there as well. Suri, you're right next to Suri, being kind of pinned down by these crew members. But the other thing that is very close to you,
why was Suri pinned down?
Because she's trying to get into the water and they're trying to hold her back.
Okay. Got it.
So she's got 3 people on her trying to hold her down because she's like making a bit of a fuss. She's like kicking at them and scratching. She's like a feral cat right now. She's just like biting them. She's trying to get to the water desperately. And she's definitely someone that if she gets in there will be dashing. Let's put it that way. But currently she seems secure, right? There's 3 people on her putting up with her nonsense. The thing that is probably quite close to you is Cedric, who has sort of run past Onyx, barreled past you, and is heading straight to the side. And he's kind of just climbing up this wooden balustrade. Your favorite chef, Cedric, who is just sort of screaming at the top of his lungs at this point, and he's like, swim, and he's just kind of like, but he looks terrified as he's saying it. It's like it's quite a manic.
I want to save Cedric.
Kelly was like, oh, thank God, now I can't eat the unicorn.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's this is the thing, and this is a challenge for Kaliuka, because obviously Kaliuka does not particularly like Cedric, but he's there. Hector is also standing next to you. No one really seems, he's quite small, Cedric, so no one really seems to have noticed him in the chaos, I'll be honest. He's just kind of darted around everyone's legs, apart from Onyx. Onyx might have noticed him because he kind of pushed past her to get or kind of like dived through her legs to get through, so she probably would have noticed him. But Hector is kind of nearby, but other than that, you're probably the closest person.
Got it. So I'm going to start by so Kaliuka was so ready to go for a swim, but seeing this obvious chaos on board, first she's going to tell Caillou, little bunny, go down, be safe. It doesn't seem like pool time yet. Okay, and she's very sad about that, and she just like quickly pats Caillou on the head. Caillou's going to go down. She will tell Callista, she's like, Callista, could you handle that one? Because I don't really like him as yet. And quickly run to the other end where Eva jumped off. So I can get about 60 feet to right where she was.
Yep.
Can I see her from here? Is she like very visibly under the water?
So the sun is just beginning to rise at this point. Make a perception check for me. The water is still quite dark, so it will be at disadvantage.
Could I?
Unfortunately, that lack of dark vision is not doing you any favors.
I know. I could only use it once I step into the water, I think.
He's quite far down as well, so it will be difficult to see her.
So
well, and if it's dark, don't I go invisible?
Oh my God, you do. Okay, just straight up, forget the perception check. You can't see her.
Could I use my action to essentially open up my magical awareness and see if I can locate Eva's necklace within 40 feet of me?
Okay, that's an excellent question. However, you have just how many feet did you take to get to this
40
area?
So my total movement is 40.
Oh, okay, so you didn't dash. Perfect. Yes, I will allow you to open up because you've used your magical awareness on this boat, I think. So I think you know kind of who has magical items. You're looking for anything. You know it as well that Eva has these magical arrows. Yeah. So even if it's not the necklace, you know she has magic on her. Yes, roll. Use your magical awareness, and it's to see with it's within 40,
60.
60.
Yeah,
then you should be fine. you should be okay. So you actually open up that kind of magical connection, and immediately around you like there's like little boop, 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 boop of the various people on the boat. There's your adventurers, fellow adventurers, as well as some of your crew members, and then just very faintly, just for a couple of seconds, you pick up something just below you, and it's moving, and then it moves out of range. So just because she's just on the cusp of this, so it just you can feel. But what you would have got a sense from that is that the movement is not hurried.
Got it.
She's moving downwards. So you know which direction.
Can I write before she goes out of range? Because it's a little odd that somebody would go so deep in for a swim. I'm going to look at Eva and I'm like, Eva, where are you going? And then quickly cast Shield of Faith on her, giving her +2 to her AC.
Shield of Faith is a bonus action?
Yes, it is.
Yes. You got every single time I was like, no, she can't do that, and then I'm like, wait, no, it's a bonus. She can. Shield of Faith, yes. So you pick up, and are you required to see the person?
No, just a person, a creature within range.
A creature within range.
So I don't even know whether it's really hit her or not.
Yummy Dodger. Okay, yes. So you kind of yell into the water. I'm gonna just go ahead and say it. Either you don't hear. But you yell into the water like, Eva, where are you going? And you cast Shield of Faith. At this moment, Eva, you feel this kind of shield around you. Remind me, Kalyuka, how your... Go on.
So when I do go into rage, it will disappear, but I'm hoping just for this round, it like saves her for a bit until I eventually...
Yeah, she's in the cusp. You can feel her disappearing from your range. It's not like she's still in it currently, technically. But, next time she moves, unless you follow her, she's going to be gone from that range, right? But yes. Okay.
Yes,
cool.
That's my turn for now.
You cast Shield of Faith. You're kind of hanging over the edge, yelling out. And we will move on to our next person, who is good old Captain Cascade. She's kind of like, she sort of stood on the deck. She looks around, and then she darts as quickly as she can, because she's kind of looking around. Everyone is looking at the things happening on the boat. She's looking at these faces, and that's something that you would have been able to really see, Kalyuka, as you leaned over the boat. There's all of these faces kind of peering out of the water, and they're all singing. They look similar to Chorus. And Cascade is looking around, and she's looking at these faces surrounding, and then her eyes kind of widen, and she begins heading towards the captain's cabin, and disappears behind the door. And that is where we end our awareness of her go. It is Estrella's turn. What is Estrella doing?
Okay, so after last session, I did ask about the appearance of these faces. Would I be able to act on that knowledge?
Yes. So after last session, you asked if they looked if they reminded you of Chorus. Yes.
Yeah, especially because of the singing too.
Yeah, and the way that singing comes about, it feels very similar. Kind of the lilts and tones of it reminds you of that language that he was speaking. The other thing that you do notice, though, because you're kind of nearer to the edge, they're kind of all peering out. They look similar in terms of like skin hue and stuff like that. They look kind of like as if they're various different races. Like there's human, there's elf, there's various different races, but they've kind of got Tritonish features as well, but not quite the same as Callista. It's almost like it's kind of like a sort of a more mutated.
It's like a template that someone slapped on them, almost.
Yeah, exactly that. There's even one that kind of look at one point kind of bobs out of the water, and you see hooves, but it's instead of hooves, it's like flippers at the end, sort of like a more like watery centaur looking creature. It's like something has kind of taken them and gone, oh, let's put some water features on them. Make them more aquatic.
I have theories. Okay.
Hippocampus?
I have. Did you say hippocampus?
Yeah.
Like exactly. Hey. Like
it is like both a part of the brain and a mythological creature.
Okay, I was like, do you mean the bloodborne monster, or do you mean the brain bit? Okay.
No, the mythological creature.
Okay, cool.
But it's not horse on the top half. It's like a centaur. It's human on the top half, with a kind of hippocampus
sea lion on the
bottom half.
Okay.
Exactly that. All right. So yes, I would say that based on your kind of knowledge and the checks that you did to know about the little slither of information that you know, yes, you could probably, you're quite smart. You could probably make an educated guess that that honing beacon that you all went, oh, he's calling out to someone, this is probably the response.
Okay, great. So I'm gonna go ahead and follow Cascade. So I'm going to follow Cascade into her cabin. What do I see as I kind of like yeet myself through the door?
As you yeet yourself through the door, you see Chorus is laying on the bed. Cascade, she's not being gentle about it. She's trying to wake him up. It looks like she might have had a very similar thought of just like, oh, they're here for him, so we got to get him to sort this out. And she looks like she's trying to wake him up, but she's got him by the shoulder, and she's like, he's injured and things like that. So she's trying not to touch his injuries because she doesn't want to provoke any kind of situation even more. But she's like trying to wake him up, and she's being relatively rough with him. And he doesn't seem to be responding. When she looks up at you, she says, he's not waking up.
I'll just shout, Kuros, Eva's in trouble. Eva. I'll just kind of like rush over and just kind of like shout in his ear like, Eva.
Okay. He is unconscious right now.
Okay. I wasn't sure if he was like super deep sleep or just straight up unconscious. Okay.
So he is sleeping, so that's rendered him unconscious. You know that he was fully exhausted, and he's kind of laying, and as you get closer, you see like he is sweating a little bit, like it's like he's a little bit feverish. He's like shivering, he's sweating a little bit, like he's not very well. I would say that that's what you get from just kind of your passive perception, because they're the most obvious things. You probably could, with the right, let's say medical, medicine check, you could probably perhaps force him awake, but he will not be his usual self. Let's put it that way.
I will scream for Callista.
Okay, so you rush forward. Are you going to attempt to try to wake him up? Because you've not. I'm just asking because you've not taken any action yet or anything like that. You just run in and spoken, but you haven't actually taken an action yet. So you could choose to wake him up, or you could choose to try something else. You've not taken really much movement to get in here as well.
Right. I'm debating the fucking relevance of remove curse. I don't think that's gonna help me right now. I don't think Dispel Magic is gonna help me. I'm gonna try and wake him up because I don't know if Eva's okay. Like, I don't know how long I don't know what the magic effect is. I don't know how long it's gonna last. I'm going to make the decision to just wake him up, and just, like, if I can do it, I'm just gonna be yelling, like, Eva!
Okay. Roll a medicine check for me.
Okay.
And this is, I feel like, gonna be like the most Astrea way of trying to wake someone up is just to kind of slap them, probably.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Let's roll the medicine check and see where you get with it.
Okay. 16.
16. All right. How do you think Astrea would wake him up?
I think I would kind of like scoot Cascade over a little bit, and she doesn't know what else to do because she's doing her best. Like, her first instinct is like, wake up, but she doesn't want to do that, so she'll just like take out her water skin and like splash him a little bit. She's like, these guys like water, right?
The idea of like Cascade trying to like shake him awake, being quite rough, and you're like, move over, and then you're just slapping him. Okay, so you move over to him, and you're like, let me see what I can do. And then you remember, kind of in your kind of like bag, you have this very strong smelling. It's kind of, it's so strong, it's enough to, it's there just in case someone needs to kind of like get a shock. It's a very strong smelling scent, and you basically just uncork it and shake him while holding it under his nose, and he kind of his eyes open for a second, and they're very unfocused. They're not like looking at you, and he begins kind of like coughing and slightly convulsing, and then they focus, and I'm
just like, I know you can't understand me. Like, I know it's gibberish.
This look of recognition, because he can hear the singing. And then he looks at you, and you say,
I'm like, I know you can't understand me. I know you can't. I know I sound like I've gone mad. Eva.
So what he hears is Eva. Okay. And he when you say Eva's name, that's when the look of recognition, because he's just like, well, completely out of it. But Eva's name kind of makes sense, like, Eva, and then he realizes, like, he's obviously listening to the song, he understands the spell, he understands exactly what's going on here, and he begins to attempt to move, and then like collapses back in pain, and we'll say that that's the end of your go. Oh my god, sorry, the way you just did that, Joe, just made me think that Onyx is gonna run there and just chuck him in the water, and I just don't know that that's like the best plan either, but you know, we'll see where we get with this. Okay, Astrea, that's your go.
That's exactly what I was doing.
I'm just screaming for Callista. Onyx is like, yeet.
Suri, obviously like Eva, her directive, get in the water, reach the bottom. She's fighting. She manages to escape the grasp of these men holding her down briefly, and she gets maybe a few steps closer to the edge, and then two more kind of like dive on top of her and just hold her down. Those around her that are kind of paying attention, which I imagine will be probably Callista, Hector. Callista, she's right in front of you. You can definitely see her. You would kind of come to the conclusion she's very slippery. She's very good at getting out of grasps, and she is getting closer to the edge. So you have limited time before she will probably make it, and get over the edge. But right now they're managing to keep her at bay. With that, Callista, it is your go.
Okay, so Callista's been woken up from a sleep on the deck, and there's kind of chaos erupting, and she's looking around, and she heard Kalyuka, run off, but say, "Take care of Hector." And so she's
take care of Cedric.
I'm sorry, yeah. I was just thinking about Hector because we do have a
we don't know what's going on with Hector. He is talking. Do you know what? Make an insight check.
Ooh,
actually, you have a very high passive insight, don't you?
I do. It's like 21, I believe.
Yeah, that's an exceptionally high passive insight. Looking at Hector, he is making his way towards the railing, and that is the thing that makes you go, "Oh God!" But looking at his eyes and kind of the crew members and Suris and everyone that's being kind of held down, that's very close to you, you can get a good look in their eyes. They are duller. They're not focusing in the same way. There seems to be a very clear indication that they are under some kind of influence.
Okay.
Hector doesn't seem to have that look in his eyes. So I would say that Callista could probably read that Hector has not succumbed to this effect. He's just walking towards the railings to figure out what's going on.
Well, she, hearing all this and seeing all this, and she's just going to kind of be panicked because she went to sleep. There was a whole confusion about, what the bracelet that she gave Kalyuka could do. So she's really aware of like people not being able to swim. So she's going to cast Water Walk on as many people as she can get. It's up to 10 people that she can see within a 30-foot range. Now, Lulu knows that it might not actually help because they have to be willing. And but Callista's just going to kind of in panic cast that on as many people as she can get. And then after she does that, because then she heard Estrella calling for her in a panic, she will start moving towards the cabin after she casts Water Walk.
Okay, so you cast Water Walk. And I figured that this might come up. And I really looked into it, and unfortunately it is willing, and what it is it gives you the ability to choose. So you can choose, like the people that cast on them can choose to implement its
Lulu knows that after reading the spell. But
and I'm glad that you said that, but I love that you've kind of done that anyway. I appreciate that. So you cast it on the people that you can, that are close to you. So I guess like it will be Dion, Cedric, Suri, Hector, and sort of some various crew members. Let's go with the ones that are trying to go over the edge as the ones that Callista would prioritize. And then she will start making her way sort of towards the I guess the captain's cabin, where she heard Estrella calling for her. The spell takes effect. They're not unwilling to take the effects of the spell necessarily, but they just you watch as you run past one of them who took the effect, and he still runs over the edge, and you feel that moment where he chooses not to use the Water Walk effect, and kind of you realize, oh, they're just switching it off in their mind. Like the spell is kind of the magical singing effect is kind of overcoming their want to use it to save themselves. So as you kind of run off in the other direction, at this point Cedric has climbed all the way onto the top of the wooden balcony, and he is preparing to swan dive his way off.
So Callista's like, she looks at the piece of cork that she'd pulled out to cast the spell, and she's like, God, I really thought that would work.
Okay. All right. So we will then move on to, it is Hector's go. So Hector makes his way to the balustrade, and he looks out at this sort of sea of faces of these creatures that are singing at him.
I ask a question before you get too far away from it. When Suri broke out, hold that people had on her, did she physically move on the map, or was it not negligible?
So I would say she moved about 5 foot. So I'm gonna move it now. I've just moved it now.
Are you sure she didn't move in the other direction?
Do you know what? Roll a d6 for me.
All right.
Roll a d6 for me, and I will tell you which direction she went in. 2. No, you have your way. You have your way. She moved in the other direction. Okay.
Hooray!
So something. I'm so glad to see you. It was for me. I was just going to say up or down because she was like directly in the middle, and it was odds. She was going to go the way you didn't want, and evens. She was going the way that you did. So that's how I did that. So she's basically running towards Hector. And she's probably just going to push him out of the way, to be honest. He might end up going over the balustrade for a different reason. He kind of climbs a little bit up onto this balustrade. And he sees this sea of faces. And he begins to address them in the most authoritative voice that he can. And I don't know why you're shaking your head like this. And he says, "Oh, great Thassa, what now have we done to invoke your wrath in this manner? Let us offer our," and he just goes off on like this kind of like almost like sermon. But as he does it, he casts bless, and he kind of says, "Bless us in our struggle against those that would seek to hurt us in this fight." And he blesses, so it will be, he blesses Cedric, he blesses Suri, it will get Kaliuka, and Callista and Dion as well, and just sort of the crew members around him. Again, the ones that are trying to get over the edge are probably his priority. And he casts bless, and on himself, because he's Hector. Why wouldn't he? So that is his go. He's just sermoning. He's just delivering a speech and hoping to try to communicate, I guess, with these creatures. He's going down the route where that one D&D player is like, has anyone tried talking to them? And he's trying to talk to them. The singing, by the way, is so overpoweringly loud that it's really difficult to hear what he's saying. But he is just talking. They're ignoring him. It's not working at all. But he has cast bless. So let's go past Hector now, and we move on to Onyx. Onyx, you are so you can see Cedric is literally about to take a dive. He's quite far away from you. Eva is down in the waters. Kaliuka is yelling at her and seems to have done something, but you're not entirely sure what necessarily. Callista is running her way towards the captain's cabin. Tilly is fine, by the way. She's not looking like she's going anywhere towards, because let me tell you,
oh my God,
there's only a couple of people that are on this ship, and it's you and Galiuka that would probably have any kind of chance of stopping that Minotaur from diving into the water. So Tilly is looking around, and she's looking for, I guess, like what her opportunity is, like where she's needed, what she can do. And her eyes fall on you. She's kind of looking to you for guidance of like what's she gonna do, and I will base my decision on what she does.
So clarification question. My max level spell slot right now is 2, right?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, okay. Did I see Eva when she jumped off? Or was I too late to see that?
No, you saw where Eva jumped off, and you can see where Calliope is kind of leaning over the edge at the exact spot where she jumped off as well. But you know where she is, and like I guess you can see that Calliope looking straight down seems to have some kind of awareness of roughly where Eva is. So you're not by the balustrade at the moment, but because she's shouting at her, there's a chance that Eva's still kind of floating above the water at this point. You're not sure. What would Onyx do? What would Onyx do? Instinctive response.
So I think Onyx has a split-second decision to make whether to try to save Eva or she wants to try to save Suri. And I think that in this case, she feels correct me if you think I'm metagaming a little bit, but I feel like she knows Eva is a very capable person, and that Eva might have a little bit more time. So I'm going to go for Suri in this case.
I will say that in terms of urgency, Eva is in the water. Suri is being held down. You have an 8-ton Minotaur behind you that is also looking to do something and will probably do the opposite.
Here's the other thing. The other thing is choices between casting.
Oh, I can't hear you very well. You're cutting out just a little bit. I don't know if that's just me or if that's everyone else as well.
No, it's us too.
Okay.
Sorry, maybe it's my AirPod. Let me put the other one in and see if that gets.
It's just occasionally like losing bits of your sentence.
Maybe this will give me better coverage.
It's still a little blurred, a little like blurred, but it's a little better.
Okay, well, I'll do my best.
Try again and we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
So my debate right now is between casting Mark on Eva, give me a slight advantage on being able to get her, or hold person on Suri, which has the potential to paralyze her and stop her from going any closer to the water. I feel like hold person is going to be more effective, and I can still have my movement after I cast it, try to run after Eva. So
it's entirely up to you. What I will say is, if you are probably, if we're kind of going to get into it in this split-second moment, you are probably one of the most capable people to go after Eva. I'll just put that out there. In terms of your swimming, in terms of everything like that, of everyone, apart from maybe Estrella because of that ridiculous cloak of the manta ray. But you are probably the most capable person of getting after Eva. Suri is slowly making her way across the deck. Suri is covered. That being said, there is also the argument of, you can see Cedric's about to go over. No one has paid attention to Cedric or really anything like that.
If I had the third level, it would make a difference, but I don't.
If you choose to go after Eva, I will allow you to run and grab the other end of the rope that Dion has kind of, at this point, tied to the mast, and go straight in and start chasing after Eva and cast whatever you want to cast, and that will be fine. If you choose to go after Suri, it will free up crew members to potentially save Cedric. If you are casting hold person, but then you are casting hold person, and you are concentrating on that. So really, it's a choice. I mean, Suri is currently being restrained as successfully as possible, given that she's quite the slippery little figure.
All right, here's what we're gonna do. You've convinced me. I'm gonna leave.
Oh,
your audio's cut out again.
Yeah, the audio's cut out.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. So much better.
Headphones. Sorry if there's an echo.
It's fine. AirPods, man.
Yeah. Tilly, Suri. So I'm just gonna look at Tilly, point to Suri.
Yeah.
And point to the kerfuffle over there. And then she's just gonna take a full round action to go fucking flying. Not literally flying, saving that for after I have the bird in my hands. Running off the deck, grabbing the rope, and diving in after Eva.
That's such an epic idea in my head of just this moment of just like, right, so then like, so you direct Tilly, you just kind of say like, grab Suri, and then you just run over Dion. I've not moved Dion, I've just realized Dion would actually be like about here kind of figuring out this mast situation. But you grab this rope and you run straight past Kaliuka, who's just still shouting down, and you just swan dive into the water, rope in hand. You want to cast what now? Hold person or Hunter's Mark? Oh, you're muted. It's muted.
Hunter's Mark on Eva before I go in, so that I have advantage on trying to find her.
Perfect. I love that. Okay, so you cast Hunter's Mark, and immediately this little like kind of like this awareness, this like radar, this sort of like submarine style radar, just starts pipping, and you can feel the kind of pull towards her. At this point, the waters are quite smooth. You've built up a bit of a run, so you don't need to make a check to kind of swim your way down. You have kind of an awareness of where she is, so you are just swimming. And I will say that you, because you didn't really do anything with it, Hunter's Mark is bonus action.
Let me double check. I believe so.
It is a bonus. Yeah. So you didn't take an action. So we're going to go for a full-on dash here of you getting over that railing. And so what is your
I believe my movement is 30.
With a dash? Yeah. Yes. So it would be 60 overall. So I will say that you get about go on.
I had 25 feet to the water if I went straight over the, well, let's say I went diagonal, so I didn't have to jump over the freaking thingy.
Don't worry about like the
all right,
crossbows and things like that.
Well, either way, if I'm going straight to where Eva was, it was about 30 feet to get over and into the water, and I think by the time I touch down in the water, I've got about 25 feet left.
You probably get about 25, 30 feet-ish down. Eva is at about 40 feet, if I'm remembering correctly, down. So you can actually, because you have dark vision, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah, so you can actually see her. You can see her in front of you. She's about 10 feet
No,
in
if
front.
someone relies on dark vision, I'm invisible.
Yes. But I do have the hold person, or the
Hunter's
Mark on her.
Apologies. You cannot see her, but you can feel where she is. And you kind of get this sense of like, she's directly in front of you. You can't see her, and that's a little bit confusing to you, but I think you know from the time in the spider cave and everything that she has a way with darkness, and it might be a little tricky to find her. But yeah, go on, Jan.
Question, the Shield of Faith, is that still up? Because I believe it creates a shimmering aura around the person.
Ooh, now hold up, because yes, she hasn't moved, so it would still be up.
It does.
It would be
a shimmering field. All right. So what you see? Wait. We're getting there.
Oh.
What you see?
This is so fucking cinematic.
Well, you see, you have this moment, you dive in, and for a second, everything is dark. Your eyes adjust to the light. You're just swimming down, where you can feel her pulling towards you, and you're squinting, trying to look for her, and the water is really dark. And then you realize that there's this effervescent glow that is kind of starting to fade out a little bit. Just because it's on the cusp of where the range is, but it's just starting to fade and you're starting to lose it. But there is a Kenku-sized shape in the middle of this glow, but there's going to be no sign of Eva, but there is what seems to be an Eva-shaped hole in this kind of glowing thing. And you know, I feel like you're wise enough still to figure out that is Eva. Okay, so that's where you are, and it is just starting to fade, this shield of faith. So unless Kumi finds or Kaliuka finds a way of keeping that up, it will disappear. Then we move to who is left? Tilly. Tilly is going to do exactly as you said. She's going to run across and she's going to yell at the crew members that are holding Suri down to get Cedric. And they are going to start running towards this poor goblin that is just balancing. And we shall say that in Tilly's go, she manages to hold down Suri and has her in a complete grapple. She's got the strength of 5 of these crew members, and is just completely ignoring these very ineffective bites and scratches and things. They don't bother Tilly at all. And the crew members just about manage to grab onto the scruff of Cedric as Cedric is teetering on the edge. We get to the beginning of the round as this song comes on strong. And I would like you all to make another wisdom saving throw for me.
Yeah, I was afraid of that.
Some of you are blessed, so that you are to add a d4 if you are blessed. It is because you have. I will say, you have resisted it before, so the DC to beat the song's call is easier to beat now because you have resisted it once.
So I still have my advantage, right? Because of my no.
No, you don't need to make it again.
Oh, good, because I rolled a 1, so like I was fucked again.
Yeah, you don't need to make it again. You are you're fully in it. It's to see if we're adding anyone else to the pile, Eva. That's all we're doing here. Yeah, so I think the people that are blessed, the people that got blessed were Kaliuka, and I'm so sorry, I have completely lost.
Callista got blessed.
Callista got blessed, Kaliuka got blessed, and then it's Dion and okay, cool.
And some other folks.
Cedric has already succumbed, Suri has already succumbed, so I don't need to make rolls for them. So really, it is Dion. Okay. Dion has passed.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Dion is still perfectly fine. Just holding on for dear life at this rope as it kind of is getting uncoiled. It's quite a long rope as well, so there's a bit of give to it. Okay, let's go round. Let's start with Astrea.
18.
18, you have passed. Let's go with Callista next.
32. I rolled a 19 on the dice. I have a +8, and I rolled a 4 on my bless.
I mean,
dice.
it's no 25.
32. This bitch is unbothered. She's just sauntering across the deck, like.
At least not about the magical stuff.
She's just like, they're a little out of tune, actually.
Yeah, it's a little pitchy. Okay. Kaliuka?
Dirty 20.
Kaliuka, you're fine. Onyx?
Blackjack. 21.
21.
Ooh.
Okay, you're all fine. Wonderful.
I don't trust this. I'm scared about next round.
No. You. That's great. You're all fine. You're all fine. Wonderful. I'm so happy for you. That gives me such a warm feeling.
I don't believe you.
Yeah, I don't believe her either.
I definitely wasn't hoping that at least one of you would join them just for a little bit of.
I'm so sorry to disappoint Kat. I'm so sorry. Okay, so you overcome the sound of this song, and we are back at the beginning of the round, which
I'm just imagining Onyx had succumbed instead of passing, and she's just like charging in there after Eva,
and then it just becomes a race.
Grabbing her, she just goes faster, past.
Yeah, but because at that point she has no reason to hold on to this rope. She would just let go of it.
And Dion's like, wait, no!
Dion just watches as the rope is just like, and he's like, oh, fuck it. Okay, cool. I'm so glad that I am actually glad that you'll pass. So happy for you. Eva, you'll go. Keep swimming, just keep swimming.
Just keep swimming. But I am going to cast Detect Thoughts. And I'm looking for invisible thoughts. So it does have the ability that that is disguise stealth, not Detect Thoughts. I can use the spell.
I look like someone else.
I can use the spell to detect the presence of thinking creatures you can't see when you cast the spell as an action. Anyone within 30 feet of me. So I'm going to use my cast or detect thoughts.
I guess that you also detect the presence of things you can see, but it's additionally things you can't see are also that.
This one is specifically so when you're looking for something you can't see, you're focused just on that. That's how I can detect things I can't see. I don't think both of them layer. I think I'm like focusing on detecting the thoughts of the songs I'm hearing around me, but I can't necessarily see.
Yeah, okay, I could see that. I could see you trying to pinpoint a source to this song because it so feels like it's everywhere, but it also feels like it's coming from like the bottom of the sea, which is where you're heading. And you're just trying to understand, like, what is it that I can't see that I'm trying to head towards here? You shoot.
Yeah, what's the source of this catchy song in my head right now? What's the source of
this real catchy tune? You detect nothing. So it must be further down, right? You just got to keep going.
Keep going. All right. So I'm going to go another 35 feet.
All right. You head down an extra 35 feet, and it's at this point, Onyx, that you, as she kind of comes out of the range of shield of faith. Is it that they have to stay in your range, Kaliuka?
No. It doesn't mention range. It just says 10 minutes.
10 minutes. So as long as you're concentrating.
Yeah. So if anything hits me, then maybe I'll have to take a concentration check to see whether.
All right. In which case, I would say that as you keep swimming down, this maybe this glow becomes a little bit weaker, but it is still there. Onyx, you can still see Eva, and you would be able to see as well. She's just heading straight down. There's no urgency to her swimming, but she's still going quite fast because she has got quite fast.
So if I'm right, by the time I got into the water, she had gone in 40 feet, right?
Yes.
So she was about 15 to 20 feet ahead of me. So now she's about 50 to 60 feet ahead of me.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yes. All right. Like as a guess, because you're not going to be able to work out exactly how far she is ahead of you, but you're looking at about 50, 60 feet ahead. Okay. Cool. We'll go to Dion. Dion is he's kind of looking around at the he's holding onto this rope. That's what he's doing, because if he feels like a tug or something like that, he's just going to start pulling it. But he is looking around to see if there's anyone in his vicinity that kind of needs help, and at the same time as like holding this rope, he tries to unsuccessfully grapple some person that is newly affected by this song. And well, let's see if he can do both at the same, but no. He's holding onto the rope and someone runs past him and he reaches out to grab and try to keep them down, and they just shrug him off and continue towards the edge. We will move to Kaliuka next. So you are running away. You're kind of like leaning over the edge. You can no longer see Onyx either. She kind of dived in past you. You can't really see apart. Maybe just a very faint glow or something, but you can't really see. But you kind of have a set of, I think, the magical awareness. She's moved out of that range now, hasn't she?
Oh, you're past 60 feet?
Yeah. So she's moved out of that, so you can't see where she is in terms of your magical awareness, but you can see a very faint glow, and you can feel that she's still there because you're concentrating on this spell that is kind of shielding her.
Do I see anything else emerging from the water anywhere at any point?
Only this line, this kind of wall of faces they're all kind of like out of the water, sort of up to sort of shoulder, but they're kind of like keeping themselves afloat basically, and they're singing. There's probably I guess there's probably a good 50 or more of them surrounding the boat.
Ooh, I don't think swimming right now would help me much. So I'm just going to be very irritated because of the chaos that's happening around. And I'm still thinking what a nice talk Callista and I had last night. And this is such a horrible way to wake up. So I look up at the faces in front and I just pick one and random and go like, oh, shut up. Okay. And cast Dissonant Whispers on one of them.
All right, yeah, we'll say that one's close enough to the boat for you to just this one outlier that's got a little bit too cocky. He's come a little bit too close, and he's watched your friends go in, and he's not even broken. He's not even broken for just a second. He's just still continuing to sing. Go for it. What do I need to make a saving throw?
Yes, you need to make a wisdom save. 14 or higher. It's so bad.
Oh yeah.
I love it though.
Just keeping the peace. I think he did pass because it's 18 plus.
Can I silvery barbs that and say?
Oh my!
I'm not going to be using any more spells after this. So
he's gonna try again. Did he pass with a 14?
Oh, he just hits the DC. Okay, yeah, he does. Oh, this warrants the rage in the next round.
He could keep singing, but he gives you stank eye. Like he fully is just like side eye. Like how dare you try to ruin my song? Like, but he hasn't reacted beyond that. He doesn't look like hostile now necessarily or anything like that, or he's like coming for you, but he does give you this real like stank eye look and just throws his voice a little bit more in your direction, like go for a swim.
And he does though, because he gives me the stank eye, he does take half of 3d6 damage. So let's see how much that is. Oh, so he takes 4 points of damage. Psychic damage.
Okay, so Atlantean Singer 39 has taken 4 points. 4 points. Okay, cool. Okay, I will bear that in mind. I think it's more just going to be a case of you vexed him.
Yeah, but this is my range like, in the next round.
I've fucking got my eye on you, and like I might just have to come up and sing directly in your ear if you continue this behavior.
As my movement, just because he pissed me off a little, can I just jump and swim 30 feet towards him?
Okay. He's resisted, and you're pissed because like you're like, my friends are jumping into the water and drowning, and then I do something and you resist it twice. What in the act? You just get so pissed that you just jump over. And
she would have had water walk cast on her, so she can just walk across the water.
Oh, I love that.
Oh my god, you just like jump over, and he is fully looking at you, and then his eyes go wide with just like a little bit of like what looks like fear as you land, and like Iron Man land, and it's like the water kind of goes hard under your feet, and there's this kind of like little crack ripples out into the ocean, and then you begin to just calmly walk towards him. He is still singing, but he's starting to backpedal just a little bit, and he's like, man, I got too cocky, I got too close. He started to kind of swim his way backwards. I don't think that you would quite get to him, but you're fine. You're just walking out enraged. Caillou is just at this point, he's completely ignored your advice to go down, and he's just kind of popped up towards the railings, and is just like squeaking furiously at you. All right, and that is the end of your go.
Yes.
And we will head to Cascade. And yeah, we don't have long until we do you know what, we'll say that's the end of your go. Let's head to break now, and then when we come back we will continue, because we're about halfway through the round. It's not combat in the same way, but oh my god, is that the Durkle Wave
That's
Rider?
The Durkle Wave Rider.
So cute.
Oh my god, I love that. Ah! Wait, I love that.
All right, let's head to break. We're gonna take about 15-minute break, everyone, while we pay the ad tax, as it were, and go and get a drink and get some cookies or whatever it is that we need to console ourselves in these trying times. And we will be back in about 15, and can't wait to see you all there, where we will continue. So bye. Hey everyone! Everyone looking a bit dramatic. Everyone pull your most dramatic pose.
No.
No. Wow, okay. Do you know what? That tracks for Australia.
It does.
We are, even in the face of this, she's just like,
no.
Whatever.
No.
We are back. We have just left the party in a rather precarious position. Eva has gone diving into the water, mind control. She wants to go and touch the bottom of the ocean. It's quite far down. She'll be there for some time. If she can, swim without getting too exhausted over a long period of time. Onyx has dived in after her, is chasing her desperately with a coil of rope. Astrea is desperately trying to wake up our prisoner.
Hold up, he's not a prisoner!
Not your prisoner.
Yeah.
The prisoner that is now your guest, that you're trying to help. Callista is on her way over to see what's going on, and Kaliuka has decided violence is the best option, and has decided, I'm just going to punch my way through all of them until they stop singing, because this is what I do.
Yeah, all 50 of them.
Currently, water walking is a freaking epic moment. Water walking her way towards this rather scared looking one that has come just a little bit closer than all the others.
It's fine. Atlantean number 39 has taken 4 damage. It's fine.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that I don't know that Kalika, I'm not doubting your abilities, okay, and your warrior's prowess or insulting your pride, but I'm not sure that Kalika can pull off this plan alone. And I'm just gonna say that right now. But we'll see how we get on. We are in the middle. Cascade is just about to take her go. She's in the cabin. You've just woken up Chorus. He's looking like he wants to move and struggling, so she's gonna just immediately get in there to kind of try to help him up, and begin how shall we say this, like
hauling
she
him?
doesn't want him to get hurt, but she is rather gonna forcefully start to drag him out the cabin, because at this point she's like, my crew are like all dying, I need you to do the thing. And that is basically going to be her go. So she's going to start to get him towards the cabin door, and she's going to look at you, Estrella, and it's up to you whether you do as she says or not. But she's going to look at you and she's going to be like, if they see him, they might hold off. Just help me with him, will you? And then she's going to look at him, and knowing that he can't understand a word she's saying, we'll say, do the thing, do the singing thing, make them stop. And just looking at her, like looking between the two of you. And I will say that for his go, he will attempt to make some kind of, you see him close his eyes in the same way that he did when he sang before, and nothing more than a sort of slightly raspy it's like an exhale of air. It's not even like a tone that comes out, and he kind of tries again, and then he just kind of falls a little bit with the effort, and he just looks at the two of you, like shaking his head, looking quite panicked, and then says Eva, like that, and
my boy Chorus.
And then Astrea, it is now your turn.
Okay. Do I need both hands free to cast Hold Person? I know I'm in the cabin right now, but like,
I will say in this instance, no.
Okay.
You can have one hand on him, helping him out, and
Okay.
one hand reading from a book. Yeah.
Okay. Because I was like, I want to be able to help Cascade, but I also want to be able to cast Hold Person. So I'll just kind of like shoulder our way out of the cabin, and once we're out of the cabin, once I can see everyone, Jen will pull out the ruler tool, and
The ruler tool is not going to be 100, because it's going by its own decision on what 5 foot, 10 foot. It's not going by the map grid. It won't allow. It's annoying. It's the only thing of Owlbear Rodeo that I wish.
Oh,
I
you're
changed.
right. Oh
Is
God.
just
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Well, let me see.
It
Sorry for
snaps
anyone who's looking at
to
it,
like
but
its own version of a grid.
yeah. Okay. So I can kind of see like everything is kind of within 60 feet, right?
Yeah. Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, great.
You can, apart from Eva and Onyx, obviously, everyone else is in 60 feet. Yeah.
So we've got
Even not Kaliuka either.
Okay. So we've got Cedric under the influence. We've got Suri under the influence. Are there any other people under the influence right now that we can see?
No. Just crew members, because I rolled for everyone else, and they all managed to be okay.
So okay, so Cedric and Suri are the only ones that are having trouble.
Yeah, so really it is just Cedric and Suri. Yeah.
Okay.
Hector's still at the side of the ship, just preaching.
Okay. All right. So I will scoot a little further this way because I think I have some more room. I'll just kind of look at Hector and I'll just scream, "Shut up!" And I'm gonna cast Hold Person at 2nd level, targeting Cedric and Suri. So I need wisdom saving throws.
Okay. I'm gonna just go ahead and say Cedric's wisdom saving throw.
My DC is not low, so it'll be nice.
Yeah, that's so that's an 8 from Cedric.
Yeah, he is held.
Oh, Suri rolled a natural 1 on that wisdom saving.
All right, Suri's also held.
Similar to the wisdom saving throw that she rolled when trying to not succumb to this song. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead. I'm going to kind of like yell out, "Hector, shut up!" And as I pull out like a very tiny piece of iron, I kind of like, I imagine my spell book is essentially like, I open my spell book and there's like a little drawing of a stick of iron, and I basically like summon the little stick of iron out of the spell book because it is my focus.
I like that. I like the idea of like a page kind of like tearing itself and kind of origamiing itself into the thing that you need, and then it just becomes real. It manifests as that thing.
Yep. And then the small streaks of Durkle light. We hit our follower goal. Woo!
Woo!
Thank you for the follow, Gamafreven.
Celebration. Well done. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for the follows. Thank you for supporting us. We really appreciate it. My players really need it right now.
Yes,
they really need to know that everyone is behind them. Because I'm truly not.
So the 2 streaks of Durkle light kind of streak out from this straight piece of iron. I look at Cedric and I'm like, "You make good food. Calm down." And I look at Suri, I'm like...
It was as well.
Yeah, right? And I look at Suri, I'm just like, hold on.
No, you did not just...
Like, stand down. And that is my turn. Just casting Hold Person on Cedric and Suri, so they can make their saves again at the end of their turn. But for right now, anyone who is attempting to restrain either of them is now freed up to do other things.
Okay. All right. So I feel like because it describes to me exactly what Hold Person does. Does it paralyze them?
It is paralyzed, yes.
So they just lock up.
Yeah. So Suri ends up like this.
I want you to. So Suri just locks up, and she is like that. We have Avatar fans in here, don't we? She is like Azula, all completely like chained up, and she's just like screaming at the top of her voice, just like because she can't move or do anything. Cedric, balancing on the edge.
Oh fuck.
Locks up. Roll a d6 for me, and I will decide.
Oh my lord!
But I will decide which way he falls based on that. In fact, roll it twice because there is like crew behind him. So basically, it's going to be another even and odd situation. But if you roll one of each, I'll give you the more favorable one.
So I have 1 odd and 1 even, 1 and a 4.
Okay, so the even, so he locks up. And he just starts to fall forward, and you're like, no! And then, one of the crew members just grabs him by like the ear and chef hat and just pulls him back again. And he locks up, and he's just he's just behind the railing, just like staring straight up, like and still kind of muffling the word swim over and over again.
And I'll just kind of like shout out the rest of the crew. I'm like, I've got them. Help everyone else.
All right. That is the end of your go. You're kind of concentrating on trying to stop. And I'll just presume as well that you've, for the sake of it, done a couple of crew members that were kind of on their way over to the, just kind of on the precipice as well.
Then I'll mark off a 4th level spell slot because...
Oh, okay. So did you only do it at 2nd level?
My intent was to get as many as I possibly could with the spell slots that I had. So if there were 4 that I could do, then I would have done 4th level.
I'm sorry, I misunderstood the question earlier. Main crew members, no, there's no one new, but there are crew members.
I will drop the 4th level because if there's more than 2 that are climbing over, then I would save them. I know it's not super optimal. However, there are people that need saving, so I will drop the 4th level.
And I'm not going to roll for them. You manage that perfectly.
My DC is 18. Good luck, bitches.
All right, and that is your go over. Suri, it's Suri's go now.
She waits her turn. She will make another saving throw.
Another saving throw because she can't do anything else during her go. She's only wanting to go to the water and she can't do that. That is, I rolled a natural 8, so
nope.
That is just no. So Suri is completely, but she's still kind of like chomping. She's like, that's all she can do. She's like gritting her teeth. She's angry. She's infuriated, and she's still kind of chomping. And like Tilly's like hand is like half in her mouth because that's the bit that's still moving, and she just like bites down hard until he just kind of yells out, "Stop biting me, you little shit!" and then just like keeps her like held down. And it is now Callista's go. Callista, what are you doing?
Okay, well, I had started moving towards Cascade's cabin to go and try to help Estrella with our guest. It looks like he is now on the deck, so she's going to run over and try to figure out, because he's awake now, but he's still not feeling very good. So she's going to try to figure out.
They're basically having to drag him out. He's not even really able to like move.
And she remembers they tried healing him last night and it didn't really help that much. So her plan was in the morning to try to do a medicine check and see if she could heal him a little bit better. Since she did get a long rest, she does have a couple spells. So she'd like to just kind of see if she can figure out what's wrong with him before she casts a spell.
Yeah. Do a medicine check for me.
Ooh, natural 20.
Oh,
so 25.
Oh, that's a beautiful score. 25, the perfectly mediocre score.
The perfect score.
25. You can see he is feverish. He is shaking. And as you look, like his wounds, I mean, he was like kind of patched up as best as like a sort of a sailing crew could. But his wounds are some of them are starting to look a bit infected. There seems to be like, it just seems to be like they don't look healthy. They don't look like they're quite healing healthily. And he's exhausted. That's the main thing, is that he seems to have like he'd gone through the night and he has got some sleep. He was awoken, but he has managed to get a little bit of sleep back. But a lot of the wounds, like in his shoulder, there was like sort of around his wrists and stuff. They don't look very healthy. So he's not like on death's door. He is getting better, but they need a little bit of attention. Medicinal.
So with that medicine check, would Callista think that it is something that a lesser restoration would help with?
That's an excellent question. Does
poison?
The DM think it's something? See, that's the thing. It is a sort of like that, isn't it? So, okay.
Because Callista's a cleric, but she's not really that good of a healer. She doesn't have that much experience with it.
One condition afflicting it. I will say that what you can do is, it says one disease or one condition. I will allow like infection to be a form of condition. So you may, if you want, use lesser restoration to kind of cure or lessen that infection. Still going to be a bit of recovery time, you have to understand, but it's that immediate like feverishness, that kind of like things are starting to go a bit south, will be stopped in its tracks. So yes, I will allow lesser restoration to end that kind of infection.
Perfect. So she will run over there and kneel down and, touch him and cast Lesser Restoration. And she's going to talk to him in his head. Now she knows that he probably won't understand her, but she's just like, you have to, because Lulu knows the spell. He can't understand her because they have to share a language. But she's just going to be like, please, you have to help my friends. We rescued you, and we have to rescue Eva. I don't know if she can breathe underwater. And so she's hoping that he will be able to call off his friends.
He can understand intent from it.
Mm-hmm.
He can't understand the words you're saying other than the word Eva that keeps getting through. He knows like names because that's the one word that he's like, oh, they're talking about her. And he's clear at this point, he's like out, and as you're kind of like healing him, he's looking around, he's looking for her, and he can see kind of like Dion is like got this contraption like made up on the mast and is waiting with this rope, and I feel like he can kind of understand what has happened. Like people are trying to get over the thing, and he's like, okay, but your voice is very it's a lot more. Everyone else has been very frantically shouting at him like, Eva's in trouble. Your voice is just very like pleading and very soft and clear. And I'm gonna roll to see if this works. I'm gonna roll to see if he can muster up the energy to
please
call off this this attack, this assault. So let's see.
I believe in him.
He closes his eyes, takes a deep breath, and tries. And that same raspy, it's not even a sound, it's just an attempt at sound, and something kind of peeks through. There's like a tone, but it's wrong, it doesn't sound, and he looks frustrated and then defeated. And he's saying something to you in a language that you don't understand, but the intent, I think, is remorse. I like it's very like he's very sorrowful, and he starts to pull towards the side of the boat that he can kind of see everyone's crowding around. He's assuming that Eva is gone. He starts to pull towards that as if he wants to be taken in that direction.
Yeah. Well, Callista, she's very insightful, even if Lulu isn't, and she will kind of help him up and kind of help guide him over there as much as she can on her turn.
All right. And I will say that you get, all of you, and I will say that you get to sort of almost there, like you're just kind of, just for the sake. So he's kind of looking out now over, and he can see the amount of them that are around the boat. At this point, he can also see Kaliuka walking towards them. Weapon in hand, looking absolutely, and he just his face just goes from like this like remorse, and he looks like he was about to try to capture their attention, like to try to wave them down, and then his face just goes into like wide-eyed panic as he realizes that Kaliuka is literally about to go and like bludgeon his people to death, as many as possible, and he's like, this is not the way, he's like panicking, but he's like surveying, he's looking down to see if he can see Eva in the water. It's like he's looking pretty and so the two of you are there. Okay, and then is that everything you wanted to do with your go, I take it?
Yeah, we're not even going to talk about how concerned Callista is about Kaliuka's reaction to water walk, because
you also see Kaliuka is making her way. Onyx is gone. Eva is gone. You might have seen, I think you would have seen, you're very perceptive, I think you would have seen Onyx swan dive not very soon after Eva, so you know what her kind of plan is. You can't see Eva, but you can see Kaliuka just walking taking that water walk spell that you gave her and just really putting it to use. And I feel like you also look a little bit like what no and like little Caillou's bouncing up at you and looking at you like just looking back like panicked. All right, and then we will head to Hector. Hector is not being particularly useful. He's gonna see kind of what you did with Koros. He's gonna make his way over, and I will say that he kind of just about gets in range, but he's still talking. Like as he's like moving, he hasn't listened to you telling him to shut up. He's just still talking. By the power, Thassa's great divine, and it's just like going on and on. And he will lay a hand on Chorus's back or shoulder and attempt to kind of blast a quite powerful like cure wounds. Having had the infection kind of seen to, he's now attempting to kind of heal it so it doesn't become reinfected. And already Chorus is looking a little better, still very tired and still not recovered, but he is looking a little better. His skin is kind of knitting up, healing up. And that is Hector's go. Onyx, your turn.
Swim!
Onyx is swimming?
As fast as fucking possible.
How fast can Onyx swim?
My walking speed is 30 feet. So if I'm dashing and taking a full round action, I can make about 60 feet. So that would put me sort of like neck and neck. So if I could maybe like make a strength check or something.
You can put at pace with Eva.
Or if I need to just wait till my next turn.
What is it that you want to do when you get there?
I want to somehow lay a hand on her, just to like either grab her wrist or her shoulder or an ankle or just something. I have one hand on the rope.
For the cinematic awesomeness of this moment, you can get pace with her. You have gloves of swimming and climbing, which means that you are a little bit more exemplary with the swimming. So I think you could get there a little bit faster if you put a lot of effort into it and potentially do an extra thing. If you roll above a certain DC, in my mind, quite high, I'm going to put that out there. I want you to make now I believe it's athletics that the swimming and climbing gives you. So I want you to make an athletics check for me.
All right.
And let's see how you get on.
Let's see. With the +5, it's a 12. I rolled a 3.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Well, the good news is you do get at pace with her, okay? And I will say that you attempt to loop this rope around her. You don't get very far in the tying of it. So on her next go, she would pretty easily be able to slip out of this quite large hole of rope right now. But you are at pace. Is there anything that you want to say or do to her before we move on?
Well, I was also gonna say, like, I have a cloak of displacement, so that probably doesn't help.
I mean, I think I used my full round action to swim as fast as possible, so I don't think there's much left I can do.
All right, so you're just kind of in the zone,
just trying to get her.
But Eva she's invisible. She's just this faintly glowing light at the moment, and then just as you kind of get this rope around her, she suddenly shifts slightly, and then it's like trying to loop something, and then she shifts slightly, and it's just constant, and you're just like, even these magic items need to stop. And that is kind of where you're at. So you're keeping pace with her at the moment. That's important. You're at her pace and you're kind of swimming alongside her as she just keeps continuing to kind of like dart over here, dart over there. But and you know where she is, but that's kind of as far as you get. Tilly is just, I mean, all Tilly is doing is, even though Suri is paralyzed, she is very aware. She saw like that struggle that Suri had on her go to try and break free from it, and is kind of has this awareness that could happen, I guess. So she continues to just hold down. She's got like this grapple on Suri, and she's basically going to start to try to move Suri towards the captain's cabin to get her behind a locked door of some kind. So they'll just sort of try to make their way over there. And we reached the end of the round. And at this point, Julio decides to cast Message. I should probably backtrack a little bit, just to give a little bit of context of Julio's journey in this moment. Eva woke in the night and began to get herself up and start to climb down the ladder. And at first, Julio, who's kind of nestled sort of in her feathers, tried to talk to her and like, oh, hey, you up, feather friend? And why you wake up? Where are we going? An adventure? And didn't really get any response. So then tried to do the thing that he remembered doing before that made him feel kind of weird and warm and fuzzy, but it meant that he kind of was like in her head, and like maybe she'll listen to that, like maybe that's how I talk with her. So he attempted to do that, and at this point she's kind of at the bottom of the ladder. She's making her way towards the edge, and he attempts to communicate with her in her head and is just overwhelmed by this cacophony of song that is occupying her mind. There is nothing that he can break through to get through to her. And as she gets closer and closer to this railing and she begins to climb up on top of it, he becomes slightly panicked as he realizes something isn't right. You know, he's a perceptive little spider. He's an intuitive little spider. Something isn't right with Feathered Friend. She doesn't seem like she's okay. And actually, she kind of looks like she wants to go for a swim. And swimming in spiders is not something that really gets on. So he, at this point, crawls off of her and sits on the railing. And she swan dives in. And he, in his little heart, cries out for the help of Shiny Starman. It's at this point that Kaliuka runs over and grabs the railings. And Shiny Starman answers and says, she can help you, but she has to keep them a secret. And we get to this point where Shiny Starman has promised he has something that will help. But Kaliuka must keep the Atlanteans a secret. So at this point, Julio has climbed on to Kaliuka, and as she makes her way across this water towards this sea of faces staring back at her, with rage in her heart, determination, she hears a little voice in her head. Stripey friend, wait! I can help, but you have to keep them a secret. You gotta promise.
Okay. Julio, when did you come here?
This is the first time. You just look and there's just this tiny little glowing purple spider. And you don't remember this spider glowing before, but it's glowing. and its voice is panicked and urgent, and it's like, I've been on so many adventures. Later. I need to talk to you. I need to give you this information, but you have to promise. You have to promise right now.
So, don't attack them.
No.
Okay.
Listen, as a spider, I can tell you that fighting 50,000 other spiders, bad idea. Bad idea.
Okay, what's the plan? And suddenly I'm like, wait, am I walking on water? I'm just like, Calista, you did it.
and you hear Julio say once again, do you promise? And at the same time, this very faint whisper, do you promise?
Yes. Yes.
Yes. And you're not sure where this whisper came from. And he says, okay. Sorry, Stripey. And Julio bites you.
Oh my God. Okay.
And as Julio bites into you, you feel yourself overcome with this surge of knowledge. It's just something, it's a secret unveiled. It's things that you didn't know before that is just flooding. And suddenly this song that is rising and rising in fever pitch, you can understand what it's saying.
Oh.
You can understand how this song is weaving together, the way that there are sort of different subsections, different timbres, different tones, and exactly how this language, because it is a language, music in itself is a language, and you know that and you understand that because you are a musician, and you hear one line that's kind of, the sea calls, answer it, and another that says dive deeper, explore, and then this really quiet sort of faint tune that is saying, our prince, we answer your call, are you safe?
Oh my God.
And in this moment, you remember the way that he sang when you were in the room, and you can remember exactly how it sounded, and you remember he was calling out and saying, I'm here, save me. And that is what they are here to do. They are here to save their prince. And they don't know if you are friend or foe.
Eva's gonna marry well today.
Moment, Kalyuka, you realize that if you want to, you can respond to their song with a song of your own. Because you have a very loud instrument on your back that will allow you to speak with them. So I would like you, if you wish, to roll a performance check with advantage. And I want you to tell me the message that you are trying to convey in your song.
So I look at Julio and like, I get it now. And take off my bagpipes, and I look over to the prince, and I audibly sing to both the prince and our little sea friends at this point. I hope they'll be friends, but I go, we are the Durkle wave rider.
The Durkle wave rider, yeah.
We come in peace. We don't want to hurt your prince. Can you return our friend if we return yours?
Roll your performance checks for me, please.
Oh, that's gonna be. Oh, let's see.
Was she blessed?
She was blessed. She
was
blessed.
Isn't blessed just attacks and saves?
Uh,
I've been wrong before, but
It might be. Yes, because guidance is.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so don't worry about bless, but roll with advantage.
That's still a 22.
So we cut to this moment where, as Julio is desperately trying to get through to Kaliuka, trying to get this promise out of him, and you hear this whispered, "Do you promise?" The camera, if there were a camera, pans across the multiple things that are happening. Onyx frustratingly trying to get hold of Eva and just about unable to grasp her, as Eva just single focus heading down towards the bottom of the ocean.
Also, fucking welcome, Raiders. Hello.
So, we have Raiders.
We do have Raiders. Thank you, Even Putting Games. Hi.
I'd like to weave into the song just to kind of give them an impression of who we are, a little bit of like Onyx's song, a little bit of what it sounds when, when Eva talks to any of the animals that she meets. I put in a little song of, what sounds like the softer tones of Callista's voice and the magic that I see when Astrea weaves it. And just kind of give through just a couple of notes of my bagpipe, a song of who we are so that they don't feel like we're there to hurt them.
I really want to just burst into I am Moana right now. It's like,
I hope we all have time to attend the Oscars tonight to accept our awards for this episode.
This is great. I love all of you. Okay, so you have this moment. Onyx is desperately trying to grab hold of Eva, and you are threading into this message. This is a little bit like Callista to listen to. It reminds you of when you dream and you have visions and those sort of strands. And when you touch them, the essence of that person that you receive is weaved into Kaliuka's music right now. It's just the notes and the way they are joined together just give the essence of who you are as a party, who you are as a crew. And you all have watched as Kumi has kind of jumped into this water and she's walking across it, and her hand very much on her weapon, and everyone is panicking. And then she stops and she takes her hand away from her weapon and she reaches out with her bagpipes. And Koros, who is panicked and frantically shouting something in a language you don't understand, he says, Sampuna?
Ooh.
Like he has some recognition of, he's seen this instrument before. And he kind of slightly falls to his knees as he says it. She blows out this beautiful melody, and the singing instantly stops. It's eerie just how silent it is. And the people around the boat that you see that were being held down, they kind of relax and come to, and you will watch around. And these heads that were kind of peering above, they immediately disappear below the ocean. It's as if they were never there for a moment. And Onyx, you are fighting and fighting to grab hold of Eva and failing miserably. And Eva, the singing has stopped and you snap out of this moment. And you see Onyx's face before an arm wraps around you and you are pulled up. Same with you, Onyx. An arm grabs around you and you are pulled up and up and up back towards the surface. And all around, the heads have disappeared. There's a beat and another. And then one by one, your crew members, everyone who has fallen into the water just comes up gasping. And these people, these strange aquatic people, are holding them above the water. And they all look at you. And you are no longer under attack. Kaliuka has saved the day with a beautiful song. And when you kind of look down to thank Julio, he has fallen asleep. He looks...
Well, I suckered out.
He's taken everything he had out of him. Like for a second, he's like kind of like curled up a bit, and for just a second, you think, "Oh my god, the spider's dead," and then you kind of prod it, and its little leg kind of like ticks a little bit, and you're, "Oh, okay, not dead, okay." And yeah, the effect is over. They're crowded around the boat. They're helping to get people back up to kind of climb up, and Dion immediately is like, Eva's a little bit out in the water because of the way that things happen, and he starts to pull on this rope to get her back up. And Onyx, you were right there by her side.
The second that I can see that the magical effect has subsided, I will release the hold person. I am going to rush over to Suri and kind of like help her up. That's a moment that we can have after we're finished wrapping up with this, but there's a moment there.
Yeah, Kalika is gonna pick up the little spider and just like give him a little scratch on his bum, his fuzzy little bum, and then keep him behind her ear and just tells him like, "I'll get you back to Eva," and starts walking back. And I look at Callista and send her a message. It's funny because everybody just sees Kalika just like going, "Hey, Callista."
Because you're still making the facial expressions, maybe even like mouthing the words that you're saying.
And I tell you, Callista, like, first I'm like, "Callista, you did it! Water walking! I didn't drown." And then I'm going to tell her quickly, like, "Callista, the young man next to you, he seems to be their prince, and these ones around, they seem to be his friends." That's where I'm going to leave it while I walk in. I'm just quickly looking to see if like Onyx and Eva are all right.
And a few of them around you, Kaliuka, as you're kind of like making your way back, including the slightly disgruntled looking one, I'm gonna say, definitely.
I'm sorry, I don't have healing.
Just looking a little bit slayed, but he's saying nothing. They are all gazing at you in awe, and they start to say, "Sampuna," and talk amongst themselves. They're saying that word over and over again.
Do you know where it is? I am looking for this mysterious bagpipe. This one's just like normal. Don't worry. I don't know whether you understand me or not, but I go like this, not Sampuna.
And they look a bit confused. It seems that they can't understand your speech. You might have to sing to them. But they are kind of just talking amongst themselves excitedly. And then one of them clocks that there still seems to be some kind of language barrier, and just sings out to you, "Our prince."
I get him. Don't worry. And I quickly go to the boat and I lean over like, "Oh, prince." And must I look at the others? I'm just like, guys, this seems to be the prince of the ocean. How I did tell them. I think they understood that, we did like a friendship exchange and we got Eva back, but are you all okay with him not being prisoner and instead being prince?
Princener. He was never our prisoner. We were just trying to getting back home safely, and it looks like we have the opportunity to do that now.
Oh, okay.
So, did we break the surface?
Yeah.
You did break the surface. Yes, you were pulled up
Okay.
above the surface.
So, in that case, I'm gonna kind of like look at the people that pulled us up and like kind of like with permission, I'm gonna get Eva. I'm gonna do my wings, and I'm gonna fly Eva to the deck of the ship, and then
Yeah, because
Oh yeah, and
Go for it.
I definitely tell Onyx because I know how Onyx has been. Anytime we've been under dangers, I was like, Onyx, it's okay, it's fine. No one's drowning today. It's just that there was a bit of a misunderstanding that that guy
I
is the
think I
prince.
understand.
I mean the prince.
I'm following it. I think I'm following it, and then I'm gonna like walk over to kind of be like, can I?
they just move back and just let you. And Eva, I'm gonna say you're feeling at this point. You're just feeling a little bit like out of it. Like it might take you a little bit of time to figure out what's going on.
Something was in my head, and
1 minute you were at the top of the crow's nest, and the next minute it's like you woke up and you were like, you know, like 80 feet underwater, and people are grabbing you, and it's all a madness. So like you have no idea, you don't recall what happened in the space between there and here at all.
So
Yep, Eva's just letting things happen to her, and she's just kind of like being carried around.
Eva's just
this isn't the first time that we've done our kind of like Titanic.
No,
But I can only fly with help from a friend.
the audio is
kinda like-
cutting out a little bit still, Joan. I'm just gonna be. I know that it's
Okay.
probably the air.
I'm abandoning the AirPods again.
Yeah,
So then I'll kind of like gesture to the prince, and I'll be like, I'm pointing like, I can take you out to the water. You okay with that kind of situation?
So Eva's up on the boat next to him.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. He looks at you. And he kind of looks at all of you. And he kind of nods. And then he looks at Eva, because he's very much realizing that like because of him her life was like very much in danger, or in his mind. He does not know about the necklace and the swimming speed and all of that. In his mind he's like, she was drowned, and it's because of me. So he kind of kneels down next to her, and he grasps he can see like you're very discombobulated. It's a great word. And he takes a second to just like he pats at your hand like this, and he looks at you in the eye, and he's saying something. It's difficult because you still have the or did you give it back? Yeah, you do. You still have.
I asked her to keep it because
out.
I wanted to make sure they communicate because they have the connection.
So he looks at you, and you can't understand everything he's saying, but he's essentially the word sorry comes through. At one point you hear him say it's okay, and then he looks at the little brooch that you have that is Krufix's symbol, and he taps it, and he says, shh, secret. And that word comes through very clear with just this edge of like this whisper. It's like secret, secret, secret. And then he's wearing kind of around his neck like it's like a necklace, but it's got shells kind of along it, like various different types of shells. There's like conch shells and various different, and they're really pretty. And he plucks two, from his necklace, and he mimes blowing into them. And he says, he mimes it, and then he points to himself and then points to you. And what he seems to be trying to get across from your insight, because you have a very good insight, is if you call, we will come. And he opens your hands and places both of these shells in, closes it, pats it again, and then he looks to the rest of you. He's about to go. So if anyone has anything else they want to say or do, this is the time.
Yeah, Eva, while he's like knelt, and she'll take the shells and she'll kind of like quickly tuck them away. She's gonna reach down, she's gonna pat him on the head, and then she's gonna take her onyx talon, or not her onyx talon, her obsidian talon, and she's gonna take that brooch off, and she's gonna hand it back over to him as an exchange.
He's gonna just look at it and just,
and then she's gonna lift her foot to kind of like mimic, to show him.
Yeah, okay. So he's gonna look at it and he's gonna smile at you, and he will kind of open up his cloak, and there's like a little pocket, and he just kind of puts it in it, and he's like that.
She's also then gonna pluck a white feather. She'll take a larger one. She'll take one of her wing feathers, and she'll pluck one of the white ones out, and then like boop him on the nose with it, and then give it to him.
You go to like boop him on the nose, and he instantly tries to catch it, and you pull it away, and then go to boop him again, and he catches it. And he's got like, because his hair is kind of, it's like quite braided, and he just plucks the feather into one of his braids, and then just runs it along his cheek, and you hear that word again as he speaks, and it's just soft, and then he kind of turns to the rest of you, and starts to walk back towards the. Sorry, he kind of looks at you, Callista, and Hector as well, because both of you were healing him, and he kind of takes your hand. He seems quite overly familiar, like he's not someone that seems to understand like that maybe people don't want to be touched. Like he just walks up and he just like takes your hand and he just like bows, and then he walks over to Hector and he takes his hand and bows, and Hector's very like oh yes, thank you, no problem at all, anytime. He's doing that thing where he talks really slowly in the hopes that he's like, anything we can do for you, yes, Thassa blesses you, yes. And he's just loving it, he's lapping it up.
I think Callista, when he bowed to her, she's a little awkward and not used to being around a lot of people in like a social environment, so she just kind of like gives him a quick hug, and then like kind of like steps back and says, I hope you get home safe.
Just nods as if he understands, but he gets the intent behind it. And if no one else really wants to say anything to him, he will begin to walk backwards, and put one arm up, and allow himself to be flown down to his people. And you can hear Kaliuka again. There's like singing. It's not a magical effect this time. They're just singing their joy, and it's just very simple, but it's just permeated with this overflowing happiness of like, you were lost, we found you, and they're very happy. You're not sure how long he was gone or anything like that, but it seems like there's a sense that they had lost hope that they would find him.
And now he's engaged. Now you're engaged.
Yeah. You don't know anything about. Do you know what? I should have Astraea have a check for old Atlantean marriage rituals, and we'll see if Eva is now married.
That's a dirty 20. That's a dirty 20. Are they married? Are they married now?
This is an engagement now.
Was that a mating dance, not a courting ritual?
Oh, it was a sign of affection. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
It was like he
It's a promise ring.
It's very like, you do recall this thing about like the way that Atlantean that used to treat their jewelry, they used to purposely have these these beads or different things that they could easily pluck off, and it would work as a sort of like IOU, or like a favor giving. It could be favor in terms of like, I owe you something, or it could be favor in terms of you have my favor, like you have my so you know, I mean, there could be something in it, but really it's just him expressing like his gratitude, is expressing that you would be able to infer that he is very aware that his presence almost cost her life, and in his eyes she saved his, so he gave her two for his life and for hers, kind of thing. If that makes sense. So
you saved me, and then I almost got you killed.
Yes, that kind of level. So it's like I will aid you twice.
It's one of those, I wouldn't mind seeing you again.
Yeah. Like, we won't commit, but like second date, like I promise it'll be better than the first.
I just met you, and this is crazy.
Here's a seashell. Call me baby.
Call me baby. Yeah, so you have this shell, and he allows himself to be taken back into the water, and we kind of get to this point now where we're on the ship. We're kind of recovering from this moment. Everyone's kind of checking on their some of them are still slightly choking from all the water and everything like that. But as far as you can tell, all of the crew members, because they weren't actually in the water for that long, all of the crew members are accounted for. None of them died. And Suri, for her part, when she woke up and then had this spell removed from her, she just scampered off. Like, she just like a cat that has got into a fight, lost, she's like run off somewhere. She is like nope. And so she will take a little bit of tracking down.
Can I say that my radiant soul runs out about a foot above the level of the water, because it only lasts for a minute? So we make it all the way, and then
yeah, you kind of make it all the way, and you get almost there, and then just the wings disappear, and there's just this sploosh, and
then I gotta swim back to the boat.
And then as soon as this kind of joyful song finishes, they kind of go over, and you see that the two people kind of surround, and they too seem to have some kind of magic that is healing. Onyx, you would see this healing up the remainder, and actually seems to be a bit stronger than what Callista and Hector have managed to achieve. As you get the feeling, you know, this Prince chorus is in good hands. And then they give you a final wave, and then all of them just disappear. And again, it's just silent. It's as if they were never there. And you make your way back onto the boat. Is there anything that anyone else wanted to do? Yes, Estrella.
I would like to find Suri.
Okay.
I'm just going to use my general background, general sense of who she is, to see if I can kind of like pinpoint a place on the ship that someone like her might want to hide.
Roll an investigation check, and I will give you advantage because of your background.
Okay. That would be something very high. 23.
23. Okay. It takes a little bit of time.
Mm-hmm.
You get the feeling she would want to find somewhere very dark, very
small, yeah.
Secluded, very solemn. You eventually find her. There are a couple of boats that are like rowboats, and they have this kind of like almost like linen-like tarpaulin over them. She is kind of tucked into one of these, and she's just got like her knees up in her hands, and just for a second, as you kind of pull this tarpaulin back, she looks really frightened, and then she sees it's you. Her face goes very hard, and she's like, "Oh, what are you gonna creep up on me like that for? I'd have stabbed you in the eye." Like she's fully got like a dagger out. She didn't know what you, or who you were. So
Estrella just kind of like chuckles a little bit. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to scare you, and I know that must have not been a great experience.
I don't remember it.
What I do
remember is waking up and feeling like I couldn't move.
Is she lying to me? Does she actually not remember it?
No, I think you can see even with your passive insight. I know it's not very high, but you can see she's not lying. She couldn't remember.
Okay.
Eva has also, I guess, if she kind of shared her experience, would verify that she can't remember how she got from the crow's nest down into the sea. So she can't remember what she did.
We ran into. Okay, look, I know that if you are anything like me, you don't like it when you don't know what happened, and you don't like it when you don't know what's going on. The ship was attacked by some creatures, and they sang a song that compelled some of the crew to jump overboard. I'm sorry that I cast the magic that I cast on you, but it was that or send you overboard. Truce?
She kind of looks at you for a really long time, and then she says, "All right, I'll let it slide this time, but let me just make something really clear. I am nothing like you." And then she pulls the tarpaulin back over herself and makes it very clear that she does not want to talk anymore.
I'm going to reach into my pocket and pull out a small earring. I'm going to slide it under the tarp. And I'm just going to wait.
She... okay. She is gonna... There's gonna be a beat or two of silence to the point that you think, did she just even notice? Is she falling asleep? Like, what's
and
going
like
on
for the audience, the earring is a single kind of like a sterling silver style earring that is a stylized shark. But if you turn it upside down, it's stylized so that upside down it looks like a sparrow.
Interesting. So you kind of put it on the edge of the boat. There's a beat or two where there's nothing. Then there's a second where her hand darts out and grabs it.
Like a cat.
Like a cat. And then there's another beat where there's nothing. And then she just pulls the tarpaulin and just looks at you, and she's like...
Maybe not exactly the same, but more similar than you might think. I kind of glance at her armband.
Nah. She's looking at you and she's like...
A different life.
Wait, really? You? Really?
A different life. But I am curious to know what you're doing out here. Because last I checked, y'all didn't leave the city either. Kitty!
Kitty! Yeah, that's exactly Suri's
attitude. Yep.
She's just looking at you and she's like, no, we're not going to talk about this now because I need to recover from the shock.
Come find me when you're ready, but don't lose that. I don't have, I lost the other one a while back.
And then she kind of looks up at you and she goes, if this is legit, then we're definitely not the same. In fact, you're my enemy. And then she just gives it back to you.
Am I? If I'm not with them anymore? And are you
then
if you're not with
disloyal.
them anymore?
That's what she says. Then you're disloyal,
And you?
and I can't trust you.
And you?
That's my business. And then she pulls the tarpaulin over again.
Well, if you ever want my side of the story,
I'm gonna give you some insight right now. Because your insight is not that bad. This is gonna take time.
Yeah.
This is not something you're gonna. This is not a conversation you're gonna have right now.
I'll just kind of tell her, like,
she's a cat. She's an alley cat. She's not gonna trust at the first sight of food because she's been burned before. Okay, so
I'm just gonna tell her, if you have questions about my side, well, we're stuck on the same boat for a while, and I'll walk away.
Well, as you say that, she interrupts and says, "Well, then you're my enemy, nothing like me, disloyal and stupid. So fuck off." And then she
Estrella will do her very best not to be insulted at the stupid part.
The stupid bit is what gets you. Everything else, you're like, okay.
I'm like, good point. Yeah, you're not wrong.
And she's like, you're just willing to tell me everything, then that makes you stupid too. Fuck off. Like, she's just not having it at all. Perhaps now, post all of this going down was not the best time to go up to her and be like, tell me all about your past.
Absolutely not. But
it's gonna take some time. And while this conversation is going on, the gulls have been circling because the sun has risen, and one kind of flies down and sort of hops next to you. Yes, bring down the gold doll.
Yes.
And hops down next to you. I'm gonna affectionately call him Greg because I feel like he needs a name. So we're gonna go with Greg. Greg the gull he kind of heads down and he hops down next to you, and he kind of looks at you, Eva, and just goes, "Ah!" again. You're muted.
You're muted.
I see that now. Eva's just gonna kind of nod. No talk to animals. She's just gonna nod.
He's just gonna hop a couple more times and be a bit more insistent.
Eva's gonna be.
This is a gull. What do you want from me? Like this is a seagull.
All cats speak with animals.
Eva will defeatedly kind of like oof her shoulders and will do her speak with animals. What do you want?
Eva!
Yes.
You're right, mate. That looked like quite something. You just went straight into the water. What were you trying to do, fly?
I wanted to see the bottom. I wanted to see maybe what secrets were down. I have no clue.
Listen, birds don't go in the water, mate.
Penguins.
Birds don't belong in the water. If you wanted to fly, you need some extra feathers. You don't got enough to fly. Here, look. And he kind of like turns his head round and like, fusses under his wing a little bit and plucks out a feather. And then kind of has it in his beak and hops up to you, and he's like, look, I got a couple spare here, and then just kind of lays them at your feet.
Eva will take the feather and she'll just kind of stick it in, like half defeated, like she's got no like energy for this, but she's gonna shove a couple of the feathers like into her head feathers. So she got her sleek black ones and these big awkward like seagull feathers now sticking out, and she's just gonna kind of look from the seagull and then look over to wow, I'm having brain farts with everything right now. People.
Yeah.
Gonna look around at people, and she's just gonna be obviously like just defeated and worn out, and like she is a broken little bird right now.
He's gonna be like, you look a bit tired. Maybe you need some food. Speaking of, you got any?
No. No, I don't have food right now. Go bother, and she's gonna look around for someone else, and she's gonna pawn the seagull off on someone else.
He's gonna be like, he's gonna hop back and he goes, look, all right, I can see you've had a rough day. I'm sorry. And then he's gonna go, can you do me one more favor though? Can you talk to your friend? And he's gonna kind of look up in the direction of Astrea, who is fussing over this boat. It appears to be speaking to a boat, to one of the rowboats. You decide not to question that too much. But he's gonna look up and he goes, can you let her know that if she's gonna start summoning magical birds that are not part of the flock, she really needs to ask permission before she does stuff like that. That's really kind of rude. And I don't know, Eva. I don't know what to say. I just feel like that's obvious. But can you just let her know that we don't really appreciate it?
Eva will nod sort of knowingly, and yeah, bird politics. Yeah, a lot of people don't know.
I mean, think about it, Eva. Think about it from my perspective, all right? And imagine, let's say that I was 5 times the size of you, or me and all my friends were 5 times the size of you, and I somehow grasped magical powers and was able to summon my own tiny little human to walk amongst you. And there we are, flying around 5 times the size of you, looking down on you, and you've got a magical human that's like interacting, but not, is really silent and won't say anything, but pretending to be part. Don't you think that would weird you out just a little bit?
Yes, I see your point of view.
It's bad enough that
your concerns are valid. I will speak to Astrea about birds.
And then he says, and this will catch your attention. He says, it's bad enough we got one magical bird flying around after us without your friend bringing in another.
And that will definitely draw her attention. What other bird?
You know, the parrot. You're not seeing it? And it will, look, it's over there. It's flying away now, and it will kind of point its beak towards a certain direction. And you can see this beautiful, it just looks like a parrot, but it's this, the feathers are unnaturally rainbow colored. Like there's just a few too many hues of color in it. It's like it's the kind of been constructed to just look as rainbowy as possible. And it's a parrot, but it's got these kind of like very long tail feathers, almost like a sort of bird of paradise style. It's not quite the same. So it's like an amalgamation of different birds. And I feel like Eva would know her bird types because she is part bird herself, so she would kind of know when things don't look quite right. It's like look kind of like a parrot, but also kind of like a bird of paradise, and then the wings are just a bit too big, and it's flying away in a sort of certain direction, and it goes, yeah, kind of arrived when you guys did, to be honest. It keeps kind of popping in and out, watching you for a bit, then going. I'm sure it's fine though. He's just kind of rude. He doesn't really speak or talk or anything like that. It's just, and he's not even interested in food or anything. He just watches. It's weird.
Is my passive insight gonna ping anything to this?
Your passive insight is pinging some alarm bells. Yeah, he's just telling you about, this bird just appeared the moment that you've been like traveling, and it's just been kind of watching and then disappears and then seems to come back and then disappears, and it's kind of weird. And yeah, like your alarm bells are going somewhere.
It doesn't seem like this is a good friendly bird. This is someone is watching us.
Potentially, yeah. It's definitely you can't really see the bird well enough to get a vibe from the bird itself, but the situation is giving you a vibe. Yeah.
So Eva's gonna sort of watch the bird fly off, and then she's gonna look over to Onyx and just like have a moment of looking at Onyx and then back over to the bird and just a gentle fuck.
And that feels like a good time to end the session. And I guess what I will end with before we move on to play is just a sort of a small epilogue. We end our session some hours later in a distant area of the Dakra Isles that our party are currently sailing through. And a lady with long, blonde, beautiful hair sits upon an ornately carved chair, and next to her a rather severe-looking man dressed in fine reds and golds of the Leos family of Akros. And a servant kind of makes his way over to them and says, Captain Piper has arrived to see you, my lady. And she smiles and says, well, let's send them in. And the double doors open and a tall figure steps through the door with a beautifully designed tricorn hat, leather boots, well-fashioned captain's jacket, and a slight limp as they begin to walk their way down the corridor. They hold out their arm, and a gorgeous bird with feathers, all the different colors of the rainbow, lands upon it and caws once. And they sort of saunter into the room, a smirk plastered across their face, sweep their hat in the most dramatic way, and say, well, Lady Helene, an honor as always. And she kind of gets up and smiles and makes her way over, and Ulysses is watching and looking less than pleased at the rather slightly flirtatious nature of this exchange. And he says, and who are you supposed to be? And the captain says, the Lady Helene has not mentioned me. We're old friends. We go way back. Tell me, who are you supposed to be? I suppose I can't call you Ulysses Leos of House Akros anymore, what with being disgraced and all. And he kind of pours himself a sort of goblet of wine. And just as things are about to get heated, Lady Helene goes, enough. What news? And Captain Piper says, well, they're on their way. They're at the Dakra Isles, or they will be imminently. I've kept my eye on them, don't worry. From what I can see, there is Cascade and her usual crew, a couple of new additions, but then there's some strangers that I don't recognize. And he begins to describe, like a Triton with sort of dress, and at the point that he says, some half elf with a purple dress, Ulysses sort of says, oh, Astrea. He goes, oh yeah, that'll be the one with a little bit of a touch of lightning about her. But you needn't worry, Lady Helene. They are entering her territory now. Kahara. They won't get much further than that. And Ulysses goes, and just explain to me, am I supposed to know what this Kahara is? And Lady Helene smiles and she says, if your little friend has a thing about lightning, she hasn't seen anything quite yet. And we'll end the session there properly. We'll just briefly go around. I want everyone to introduce themselves, tell us where we'll find you. We are running slightly late, so apologies for that. And I'll make my one really quick. Let's start with Jen.
Oh goodness, hello, hi, it's me, little friend. Hi, I'm Jen. I can be found on Twitter at JenBurb. I have been your friendly local half-elven wizard Estrella, who apparently has not seen real lightning yet. This is going to be interesting. All right, that's me.
All right, Joan up next.
I'm Joan. I can be found on the interwebs as the Rogue Senna and most places where you look for people on the interwebs. And also, I can swim. Yay! That was useful.
That was great. I really enjoyed this episode, everyone. Let's go with Kumi after.
Hello, I'm Kumi. I can be found at Kumi's Curiosities or on the Pigeon Killers. Do go to the Pigeon Killers because we had like a really fun Women's Day stream last week, which was a D&D session. They're having another one day after as well. So that's from me.
Nice. I love that everyone is speeding through this. Lindsay.
Hello, everyone. I am Lindsay. You can find me on the social media things as Chunky Chickadee, with the last E being a 1. Today I have learned that all the cool items that make you really hard to hit in combat also makes you really hard to save outside of combat. So I've learned some life lessons today, and I will keep doing what I do.
And last but not least, Lulu.
Oh, hi, I'm Lulu. I've been playing Callista, the party's cleric, who, while all of the conversation with the bird and everything was going on, would have run up to Kalyuka and been, "Did you see that? That was so cool when you landed. I've never cast that spell before. I was so glad it worked." Because she was really worried. She's actually a little worried now that Kalyuka might think she doesn't have to know how to swim. But we'll see how that goes. But anyway,
Kalyuka now thinks that this is a permanent effect. Yes.
Yes.
Can't wait for Kalyuka to find out, like, oh, I can't just walk on water forever now.
Callista will always have to have it prepared. But anyway, I'm Lulu, and you can find me on Twitter at LuluNWA. And that's me.
All right. I'm Kat. I can be found on the interwebs as Law Mistress 93 because I am your friendly law mistress. I write, I stream. You can find me on Thursdays over on VA Redemption's channel, where I am playing Sylvie LaBelle, an exceptionally embellished and dramatic actress who is currently facing zombies, which is not what she was expecting at all. And that's pretty much me. So without further ado, thank you all so much for joining us and helping us get over our goal today. We really, really appreciate it. And we will see you next Sunday to find out what the party head up to next, and will they encounter this new threat? Who knows? Cheerio. Bye.
Bye.